Before we came to District 50 this year, before the regional alignment was finalized, we were in District 43, which comprised all of Arkansas, western Tennessee, and northern Mississippi. Arkansas started with divisions A and B. We grew enough to have another one, so we had divisions A, B, and F, with C being Mississippi. Well, C and D being Mississippi, and E being C and D were in Tennessee, and E was in Mississippi. Then things changed a little bit. They lost a few clubs. A new alignment team came in and consolidated all of Arkansas.
Welcome to D50 After Dark, where we have conversations with Toastmasters leaders. I'm your host, Mickey Bennett, and in today's episode, we will be having our first interview of Season 4 of D50 After Dark. We'll be interviewing Dewey Magar, an Assistant Division Director of our new Ozark Division. I can't wait to introduce Dewey to all of you. All right, welcome to D50 After Dark, and welcome to our first guest of the season, Dewey.
Thank you, Mickey. Good to be here.
Dewey Magar. Now, you are a Assistant Division Director for the Ozark Division, correct?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a lot about Ozark Division, especially in our next episode. But first, I just want everybody to learn a little bit about you, Dewey. So, Dewey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in Arkansas all of my life, well, for the most part, except when I was going to the military and other things of that nature. In fact, I'm living in Little Rock, Arkansas, where most of my clubs reside, although most of them are online at this point. I went to many schools in the local area. Most of them was close enough that I could walk to and from school because they were all in the downtown area. I actually live 2 miles south of the Arkansas State Capitol.
Okay, great. Well, so, wow, there's a lot in there. So you live in Little Rock, Arkansas. You said you were in the military, and tell us, what do you do? What's your What's your day job? What do you do as a career?
Well, my day job, so to speak, I'm semi-retired doing lawn care 1 to 2 days a week. I conduct ministry meetings in nursing homes several times a month. I help people where they are to get their needs met.
Okay, ministry. Got you. So you're like a religious leader?
Yes, I'm a minister in my church. I'm an ordained minister. I preach sometimes on Sunday mornings. I go to different churches, sometimes into prisons to give presentations speaking on the Word of God.
Very cool. Very cool. That we could have a whole conversation about that. I'm sure you have a whole lot to say about being a minister and having So I'm sure Toastmasters has played a big part in what you do as a minister.
Yes. Before I joined Toastmasters, I was so shy I didn't even want to talk to myself. But a friend of mine, Adrian Duncan, who's completely blind, cannot see the sunlight. I met him through my wife at a first care meeting. Became good friends with he and his wife, who were both blind. Eventually did what I do. I help people, and I began to be one of their transport people to take them places that they needed to go. One day he said, "My driver for Monday noon meeting is sick. Can you take me?" I said, "Sure, I'll take you." I took him. It turned out to be Health Masters Toastmasters Club. Went to the meeting, took him back to his work. The next Monday, I still need a ride. He's still sick, so I took him the second time. After the meeting, we got in the car to take him back to work. He said, "What do you think about Toastmasters?" I said, "Well, I've heard about it all my life. I'll counterbill all those things and just never join." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Nobody asked." He looked me straight in the eye as though he could see me and said, "Well, I'm asking." The rest is history. I became a Toastmaster, and within 2 months, I had been elected president of Saline County Toastmasters. Joyce Moore was there, a good friend of his, those two became my two first mentors in life in Toastmasters. Joyce Moore encouraged me to become the president of Saline County. And about 6 months later, she said, "You need to be an area director." I said, "What's that?" She told me, I said, "I don't know about that. I'm barely handling president." And she said, "Okay, that's okay. We will help you." That's the same thing she said when I became president. I said, "If you'll help me, I'll give it a try." As president, our club became distinguished. The next year, as area governor, I chartered a new club, brought all the clubs in our area to President's Distinguished, and brought the brand new club to President's Distinguished as well. They told me in training that's what I was supposed to do, so I did it. I didn't realize until 2 years later that there were only 5 areas in the world that accomplished that feat. And I've done that, I think, 3 times since then as area director. I guess I'm just one of those folks who likes to take it all the way.
Wow, so you definitely have some great accomplishments as a leader. So you were an area director 5 times? Or three times?
I've been area director 5 times, a division director twice.
Wow. So you definitely have a lot of experience as a leader in Toastmasters and a leader at your church. So you said before you joined Toastmasters, you were too shy to even talk to yourself. At what point did you realize that the Toastmasters had made an impact and allowed you to speak to large groups?
I guess that happened when one of the pastors of one of the churches in our church convention at the time approached me and asked me if I would preach at his church on a Sunday morning in the next month. I thought, sure, I would be glad to do that. I thought, well, maybe he's going to be out of town. He needs somebody to come in and preach in his place. I got to the church that morning and he was there. So I knew it wasn't to replace him. I got up, I gave a presentation, and got a very good response from all of the people after the meeting was over with. And I realized that there were people outside my Toastmasters club had noticed that my presentations were becoming different. And he honored me by letting me speak at his own church on a Sunday morning primary worship service. And that's when I realized this is more than just having fun at Toastmasters.
And how long ago was it that you joined Toastmasters?
I joined Toastmasters in 2013.
2013, okay. So 13 years ago. It's about the same time I joined, just a little bit after I joined. Very cool. Well, we're gonna have a whole other conversation about Ozark, but I do want to touch on that real quickly. So Ozark is a new division in District 50. It existed before in another district, I assume. What was the district before?
Before we came to District 50 this year, before the regional alignment was finalized, we were in District 43, which comprised all of Arkansas, Western Tennessee, and Northern Mississippi. Arkansas started with Divisions A and B. We grew enough to have another one, so we had Divisions A, B, and F, with C being Mississippi. Well, C and D being Mississippi, and E being C and D were in Tennessee, and E was in Mississippi. Then things changed a little bit. They lost a few clubs. A new alignment team came in and consolidated all of Arkansas back into 2 districts, with all of Fort Smith, Fayetteville area coming to us mixed in with Division A. In the new alignment, Fort Smith to Fayetteville went to Oklahoma in District 209. Mississippi and Tennessee went to District 77 in Alabama. And all of central and southern Arkansas, what was the original Division A and B, have moved into District 50 as Ozark Division. So we have 21 clubs that are coming to you.
Very cool. And this is the first year you're with D50. So I definitely want to talk to you a lot more about the Ozark Division in our next conversation. But back to you. Tell us, Dewey, who has shaped how you lead?
I would say 2 people, Adrian Duncan and Joyce Moore. Adrian Duncan has pushed me to perfection in presentations, and Joyce Moore has pushed me to perfection in leadership. She was the first one who, 2 months into my Toastmasters career, asked me to run for club president of Saline County. I said, I just joined 2 months ago. I don't know anything about being a president. She said, that's okay, I'll help you. And she did. She encouraged me to be an area governor. And we had that conversation a little bit earlier. It was a successful run. Each step of the way, she encouraged me to do different things. And finally, as I began to understand the value of all of the things she was teaching me, I said, Joyce, how can I repay you for all that you're teaching me? She said, don't pay me, pay it forward. Teach other people what you've learned from me. She's a very humble lady. I had known her for several years before I realized she had been a district governor herself. She didn't brag about herself, but she had done all those things, and she used that experience to help me become the leader that I have grown to be. I could not have done it without Adrian and Joyce, because they were the ones who molded me, pushed me forward, and encouraged me to keep striving, keep going in spite of the obstacles and in spite of the odds. Joyce Moore has taught me so much that it's made a big difference in my life.
Sounds like Joyce is my kind of Toastmaster. And you said Adrian helped you with your presentations. How did Adrian do that?
Tell you a funny story about Adrian Duncan. One time I was sitting with my wife and his wife at their kitchen table, just talking about various things. He said, I'll be right up. Got up and walked out of the room, and he came back and sat back down at the table without making any comment about where he'd gone or for why. About 3 minutes later, I started a sentence with the word so, and he rang his counter bell in the middle of his living room, right there at the kitchen table. And he began ringing that bell every time I said the word so. In college, in high school, in 10th grade, I had a teacher teach us about filler words. And I thought I was doing great, had no filler words, but she didn't mention the word so. It can be used legally sometimes, but oftentimes it is a filler word, and he helped me to get rid of that filler word as well. Anytime I gave a speech, he would give me an evaluation as I was taking him back to work, in addition to the evaluation I'd received from the people that I'd spoken to and received evaluations from. He gave me encouragement when I would give a presentation anywhere that he heard one. Even in his own house, he'd give me evaluations. And he helped me to become a much better speaker than I ever was before.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Dewey, one last question for you before we wrap up this episode. Tell us something about yourself that your Toastmasters friends don't know about you.
One unique thing about myself is that the house I live in now is the house that my mother and father bought in 1947 when they got married, and it was built. When my dad passed and later my mom passed, my sisters finally agreed to let me have the house since they didn't need it or want it. I moved back to Little Rock to set up housekeeping here. I put all new electric, all new plumbing, energy efficient windows. I insulated the attic and put a new deck in the attic for additional storage. Added an extra garage and storage area behind the garage and breezeway. Put in central heat and air and wrapped the whole thing with bricks. The neighbors thought it was a brand new house. They didn't know it was the one that was there before. It looked so much different on the outside, but on the inside, it's the same house I had as a child with a few upgrades.
That is so cool. That is so cool. We sold my grandmother's house after she passed. Part of me wishes we held on to it. It wouldn't have been practical to hold on to that house, but so many memories. It would have been nice to have kept it. Well, Dewey,
there's one other thing that's more personal, I guess, that many people don't know. A few have begun to discover it through some speeches. I actually, as my mom said, I've been singing since I was knee-high to a short duck. So I sing in the church choirs since I was about 4 years old. I'm now in the church choir at church. I sing in choirs in school. And I go to the nursing homes and other places. Wherever singing is appropriate to sing Christian songs, I go, and I'm always ready to sing.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know if we've had someone on the show who's talked about singing outside of Toastmasters. Do you think your singing background helps you with vocal variety and giving presentations?
Well, certainly, because the the singing has helped me to create a much wider range than the normal person does. As a result, when I gave a speech in one of the interpretive reading manuals, advanced manual in the legacy program, I was able to read a play that had three people: a butler, a mother, and a debutante daughter. And I used vocal variety to adjust the pitch of my voice. I used my normal voice for the mother, I used a lower voice for the butler, and a much higher voice for the debutante daughter. And I had a really humorous presentation using that. But vocal variety comes easy to me when I try to do humor speeches, because I can increase volume, decrease volume, increase or lower the pitch, the rate of speaking. All of those things can be adjusted when I do that. When I'm in an interview or in a training session, they tell me that I don't have much vocal variety because they're comparing it to the vocal variety I use in my entertaining speeches.
Very cool. Very cool. Maybe I should take some singing lessons. All right. Well, Dewey, it's been really great meeting you. We will have you back for the next 2 episodes. In the next episode, we'll be talking with Dewey about the new Ozark Division and really learning more about our new friends up north. Thank you, Dewey.
Thank you, Mickey.